Hi guys, my name is Shakil and today we're gonna talk about a real serious topic. So basically we all know times get times get crazier and there is much inflation. The world is going crazy and everything. People have less money. People don't behave socially. The UK is falling. The US is crumbling. And I want to talk about this topic because it's a very serious topic. I'm studying it for 4 years now. And I always wanted to know why it is like this, why everything is falling apart and we seem to enter a crisis that can result in a dangerous future. Because I don't know if you heard about this, there is a book from Neil Howe and Hal Strauss, and he's basically telling that there is a shift all 20 years from each generation, all 100 years you have crisis, and it basically happened every 100 years we had major wars, and at the beginning it is the high, and the high is a timeline where everything is going well, people are financially very good, they can buy houses, they live accordingly well, wealthy, and everyone is happy. Then you have the awakening of this high, which will last another 20 years. Then you have the unraveling, and after the unraveling, which happened until 2008, and after 2008 we entered a crisis which will last for a couple of years now from now on. And I just want to talk about this because it's very serious to me and very interesting, and I never understood why. So why? We can start from the example of LGBTQ, and basically what LGBTQ does, it is mass manipulation. It manipulates reality in a way that when you think that a woman and a man is the same, then you don't have any sense of principles, of nature principles. And when you do that, and a woman basically, since the Second World War, the woman can join. No, it was invented in the Second World War because all the men were in the war, so they had to keep on for the industrialization, so they had to pull in the women in the workforce. I'm not saying that I hate it or that I am anti-feminist or something. I just want to tell something clear. The LGBTQ movement is basically communism because you're enmeshing realities. You say it's okay to be a woman, to be a man, or to be a transgender. When you think like this, there is no right or wrong anymore, because those principalities don't exist. Because this is why I tell you, it is the manipulation of reality itself, because you cannot, because the world is chaos. You need to think about this. The world is chaos, and your task in the world is to make sense of the world, to make order in this chaos. When you read the Bible, when you read the Islam in the Quran or in the Bible, there is saying that God invented the world and the world is a chaos because it is from feminine nature, and your task, especially as a man, is to create order in this chaos in order to survive, reproduce, and live according to your nature. But when you have LGBTQ who is enmeshing reality, then it gets dangerous, because the problems that we have, and when you think like a man and the woman is right, a man and the woman is right, is the same, there is no right or wrong, or everything is the same, does it remind you of something? It is an ideology. It is communism, because communism is like this. And it's funny, because I always thought, why would they want to enforce such a terrible ideology upon us? And it came from the media. It started with feminism, which is also something to manipulate reality, because you say to the woman that she can be basically a man. But not only this, because I am not the person who oppresses women or say that they have to be preserved in a box. I'm not like this. But when you say that you abandon the principalities of reality because you let a woman work, and she needs to be provided, and the whole nature of her femininity gets subverted and destroyed, because the main purpose of a woman according to nature is to breed kids and raise children in order for the population to survive. And nowadays the West is not producing enough babies. We cannot sustain it ourselves. And why? When you look at those ideologies and the people that are enforcing that on us, it is clear that the purpose is to create chaos and destroy, to subvert and invert things and make it is the devil, because the devil cannot create reality. He only can subvert reality and mash it, change it. And this is what we see. And it's really crazy, because the LGBTQ movement came from the media. And it's funny, because 96% of the media, they are all pointing out the same narrative. And why should they do that? Because you need to think like this. The money system is inherently flawed. The money system is this fractional reserve banking. It is a complete scam. It is not protected. The currency is not backed by anything. And it is properly not the interest of the working class and the people that are suffering because of it. So you need to ask this question. Okay, so when the people in power are doing that to us, and they are unfortunately gaining and getting richer through that, but we're getting squeezed. So the system is completely flawed. But the people who control all the money assets and who have the Federal Reserves in their hand, it's a syndicate. I researched it, but YouTube censors so much that you cannot go deeper in it. But basically, it's all the same people. It is a group, and it is a big party, and you're not in it. It is a big club, and you're not in it. And basically, the people who are in charge of all the money, or of the creation of money, of the politics, they are also in charge of the media. It sounds ridiculous, but it is. And their desire is to destroy the average man, to make him blind, to submit so that you can oppress him, because they want to have communism. And the media is the best tool to make this mass manipulation, because you get blind, then you don't have nothing, your value gets stolen, you can't say anymore what you think, because you would. This was invented from a communist, from a Marxist, gaslighting. Basically, when I would say something, they will call me a term, for example, a Nazi, and it is gaslighting. it is basically saying something and making my voice die because you canceled me with this word instead of arguing properly with me. They don't want that. And yeah, guys, it's pretty crazy, man. Because their goal is to make a central currency, to use us as a slave, that we cannot speak anymore freely, and that we will be in this machinery and making the profits for them. At the same time, we are killing ourselves and fighting with ourselves. We are too blind to see who is making this control upon us. And their ultimate goal is that you own nothing, that you will not own anything but be happy. Because once your mind is so fucked of all those thoughts, all these enmeshments, and you cannot have a proper sense of the world and how this nature and reality functions, and that they can do everything with you, what they want. And this is the ultimate enslavement. And you need to think about it. I mean, an average worker can't even buy a house. He loses money through inflation, which the currency isn't backed by anything. You have to pay so many taxes and the interest rates, but they get interest rates but are producing money for free. And suddenly those people who control the world get richer and richer, and they enforce all the bullshit ideologies through the media. It is the globalists, I see them. And it will lead to war, it will lead to a crisis, it will lead to famine. Basically, we need to pay attention, because they are creating hell. And everyone who sees me from here, I tell you, you should not participate in evil, because the gates could open more, and hell could come more to us, and it can be worse, and it isn't good. You should not do it, because what God gave us, He gave us self-consciousness. And why? Because Adam ate from the tree with Eve, and then they fell from heaven, and they realized that they all were naked. And Adam started to hide himself behind the bush. And God was seeing him. And he said to him, God, what are you doing to me? I am naked. I am blind. I cannot see it. And because we sinned, He put hell upon us in giving us the ability to have the self-consciousness. But with self-consciousness comes suffering. Other animals seem to be suffering much less good. When we enforce suffering on them, they suffer, clearly. But they didn't get the self-consciousness, because the self-consciousness can experience pain and can experience suffering. And it is one step more, because before we couldn't speak, we weren't self-conscious, but we think it is a development, but it is actually because we entered more to hell, and He gave us one suffering point more to suffer in the world. And the more we open our gates, the more we will get some other parts that will present in reality. And you know how the world is. You don't want to put it in a stage deeper. And it's actually what could happen. So don't participate in any violent event. But what we need to do, actually, we need to reform the whole banking system. And I mean that clearly. I am studying history right now by myself. And I've heard of a civilization. The Germans, 1932, they changed the banking system. they abandoned the globalist, and they, according to what I've heard and what I've read, they had the best financial system. The financial system was backed by real money. The people could buy houses. When you were a family, you could pay your house in 10 years. In 10 years you had the biggest house repaid. And if you had one kid, for every kid that you had, the government gave you 25% fee that you can pay less. So if you had 3 kids, you only had to pay for 25%. And it was backed. And the incentives were for the people. And we need to make a power shift. So I hope some millionaires see this video, because it is upon us to create a community to change and radicalize the financial system that is backed by something physical, and that is protected, that the workforce is protected by any psychopath, greedy capitalist who tries to oppress people, like they did in 1932. And after that, we will get rid of these ideologies, this mass media who is snoring out lies, putting out lies. And we will have proper values and proper senses, that a man needs to be a man and a woman needs to be a woman, that a man should provide, build and protect, and that a woman need to raise kids, be compassionate and nurturing. We will abandon all those exploitive companies, and we will enforce ideologies and morals again, worths, in order to get back in accordance with nature and reality itself, and not to go deeper into hell, because we're going into hell. And we need to pay attention. We really do.